But Dr. Cortex, we haven't determined the cause of past failures.
Moron! This Bandicoot will be my general, and he will lead my Cortex commandos to world domination!
I've watched my kids, my family, and my friends all get older. It really makes a person long for, simpler times. The times of the original PlayStation, where little Bandicoot ruled the world. Welcome to Daddo's Game Guides. Join me as we relive this remastered game and see if it lives up to the previous expectations and our memories of the game. This is part 1 of a 3-part series looking at the Crash Bandicoot Sane Trilogy. Originally developed by Naughty Dog in the 90s and early 2000s, Crash Bandicoot became a mascot for PlayStation, along with other favourites like Spyro. It was PlayStation's answer to the established IP that Nintendo had, like Mario and Zelda. The Crash Bandicoot Sane Trilogy was primarily developed by Vicarious Visions and published by Activision. The first game doesn't give us a lot of context. We play as Crash, and we're essentially pointed in a direction and expected to run that way. There's not a lot of depth to the story, and it more acts as a reason for us to go to different islands and do different levels and platforming. The basic premise is that as Crash, we must journey across 3 different islands to get back to the evil Cortex and defeat him. Along the way, we must defeat various bosses and work our way up the chain of command until we get to the top of an air blimp where the final confrontation takes place. It's pretty basic, and like I say, it acts more as a backdrop to do platforming of varying complexity. The level design is quite well done. It introduces us to enemies and platforming on the very first island. WASD to move, we jump, spin and run through each level. There's a variety of 2D and 3D platforming levels, each with different gimmicks. Crates will give us lives, Wumpa fruit, or a mask of protection called Uka Uka. I hope I said that right. We expand on these mechanics as we get closer to the end of the game. The game does a relatively decent job of introducing us to each enemy and each enemy type, and ways to defeat them. This goes hand in hand with the platforming, and it becomes an integral part of the core gameplay loop. There's how do I put it nicely, a level of jank that I suppose is part of these older games, and it's part of their charm. But I had hoped that with the remaster that it might have been slightly more polished. You can see the idea of a 3D platformer was still new back in the day. I'm sure the next games iterate and improve upon the formula, but the original Crash Bandicoot suffers because they don't adapt it to the standard of newer 3D platformers. This is especially true when you try to jump, but you keep missing a ledge because you've misjudged where exactly you can jump from, or where it might be safe to land. Almost all of my deaths were from falling. I played with both my mouse and keyboard, as well as a controller. It was difficult with both, and I can't say one was easier than the other. They have ported it to the mouse and keyboard pretty well though. Crash Bandicoot took me around 7 hours to complete. It can definitely be done in closer to 5 to 6 hours, but I genuinely was not good at some of the jumps and I had to constantly go back to easier levels to complete lives. I really appreciated how the levels can be done in 10 to 15 minutes, and it's pretty easy to fire things up and get going. The first levels are really fun and easy enough, but as the game goes on, the difficulty ramps up significantly, and it can be pretty unforgiving. I found there was a healthy middle ground as I got to the last island, where some levels were really fun still and challenging, but others felt almost impossible. The game definitely feels like a product of the past, but with new and improved graphics. If that's what you want, then you'll probably have a good time playing Crash Bandicoot. I really enjoyed my first 5 hours, and it was only as I got closer to the end that it became a slog, which probably left a bitter taste in my mouth. It's got fun graphics, and when it's good, it's amazing. That being said, if you want to get your kids into gaming, this wouldn't be a good game to do that. When we get to the sequel, you'll see exactly what I mean. I would recommend it to anyone who does just want to switch off their brain and play games for a little bit. Play the easier levels, play the levels that you're really good at, and play the levels that you find fun. The first game of the Crash Bandicoot Sane trilogy was a decent, but sometimes frustrating blast from the past. The highs are high, the lows are very low. It can be enjoyable and it can be very unforgiving at times. Join me next time as we explore and bend our brains in Disco Elysium, the final cut. Until next time, let me know your thoughts. Did you play Crash Bandicoot back in the day? Have you played the remaster? What tips and tricks do you have for anyone who's keen to play the game? Comment below and leave a like if you can. Thanks for watching.